talking about how other people view the art, and they'll say stuff, you know, like, one day you're gonna make it, one day, you know, one day, and you're like, well, wait a minute, I paid my bills.
Right.
I'm making a living.
I love what I do.
I love what I do. And I feel the same way about my work at that point in time as I do when my movie makes $100 million or
a billion.
Lower billion.
In your case.
100 million is a failure these days.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. But it's I think there's a certain fulfillment of faith that doing this has, because you don't have a steady job. You know, no matter how well you're doing, you're still trying to find what is the next thing. And when this job is over, you're like, well, what's the next one? And if I know what it might be 6 months from now, like, what's gonna keep me going? And so that same faith that you had to have when people said, you're gonna be an actor, like that you were talking about, I think you use that, it builds on a day-to-day basis for every little part of what this is. And if you don't have that from the beginning, you don't necessarily have what it takes to do all the intricate moments of this. I don't think that a film can necessarily solve the problems. What you find is that every person makes a seed grow. You know, one person comes in and waters it, the sunlight hits it, you know, another person tills the soil. So you know that you're making an impact on the world. You know that you're changing somebody's mind or making someone think a little bit differently.
We learn from good stories.
And that ultimately makes you feel better about the world. But at the same time, you know, evil is always rampant. You know, it's always, something's always happening. We're artists, not just in the matter of living out the life, but we're painting a picture. You even described it when you spoke of the voice. And I'm 6'2", 6'3". Do I want my voice to be this high? You know, will that voice resonate in this time period with an audience, or will that be a distraction? So in this portrait that I'm painting, as a matter of taste, does that take away from what I'm doing? And as much as you're living out, you can say, well, I can play anything. You know, the ego is there, and then the insecurity. Well, can I do it? You know? But taste also dictates, you know, that you know what frame you're in and how the audience is going to see it. And if you understand that, that's part of what being a good actor is understanding what is this movie I'm in, and what is the time period it's being seen in. And you're picking your projects based upon those things too. And so therefore, that doesn't work right now. It's the people that you run across while doing this. It's the fact that you see that people are going through the same thing you're going through. They're searching for similar things. But when you actually meet the people, you're like, that's a cool dude. You know, he's cool. Like you know, I really vibe with him. And when you have those personal moments that are not connected to the acting, and then once you go into the work and now you're sharing something, it's like, you know that it's happening across the way between you. Nobody else understands it. The camera is capturing it. You've blocked the camera out, or you're using the camera, whatever you're doing. You know you've shared something, and that's what makes you less cynical. It's a fraternity amongst you, actors and actresses. You know that this thing is making you, is shaping you. And so I feel like,
and you never know where the help's coming from.
You never know where it's gonna come. It can even come from your dresser, the person who's dressing you, your wardrobe designer, anybody. You know, person who's doing your hair, they may do something, you look at, you're like, oh, that's it. That's him.
Or the conversations you have with your makeup artist
whatever
as you start
is.
your day every day, 6
They're
in the morning.
They're the most important person
They
you see.
set the tone for
every
your
day.
day.
What music do they play?
Yes.
You know, all of that stuff. You know, like the film I'm shooting right now in New York,
Which film?
This is called 17 Bridges. For the first 2 fittings, he brought in these coats. And you know, the director's very often talking about the silhouette of the character. I feel like the silhouette is this. I feel like, you know, I want him to look like that, you know, in the light or whatever. And you're like, okay, I'm listening to you. And he would like, pick the coats you like. The wardrobe designer listened to the director. He watched me try on stuff. 3rd fitting in, we're making the final decisions. And I look at a coat that he brought every day. I said, let me try this on. I put it on, looked in the mirror. I was like, damn, that's it. Wow. I was like, that's it. And he knew the whole time. He knew the whole time. And everything about that coat,
he's an artist.
It's like, oh, that's the character. And that gives you something. So we work externally as well, and then it gives you something on the inside that it changes the way you walk. It changes the way you talk. It changes everything about who that character is. You never know what it's gonna be. You just have to find those spaces that are still yours. At the end of the day, like there's certain things that, you know, you set boundaries. You say, well, I'm not gonna give that part away. And people will get upset at times. People will say, hey, I supported you.
I've been in the rain for 3 hours waiting for you.
But then I go, wait, you supported me when I was broke? You pay my rent, did you? I go, no, I already gave the art to you. I gave the art to you. You enjoyed the art. That's what I gave you. This autograph, you know, I'm willing to give it to you, but what I gave you before is what's real. And so for me, I go, that's great. I love you. This is the part that I have to keep so that I can continue to do the work. And I think you have to know what that is for you.